All right, let's talk about charts, but not just the numbers. Today, we're going to learn how to read the stories hidden inside them. I'm talking about 4 specific candlestick patterns that basically scream, hey, a reversal might be coming.
You know, we all spend hours staring at these charts, right? But what if they're more than just a bunch of up and down lines? What if each one is actually telling us a story? A story about a fight, a power struggle, a huge turning point.
Well, it turns out they are, and today we're going to learn that language. Think about it like this. Every single candle, that's a word. And when you see them form certain patterns, that's a whole chapter. And these chapters, they can warn you when a massive plot twist is about to happen. So let's dive in.
Okay, so our first chapter is pure drama. I'm talking about a full-on failed attack, a powerful last-minute defense. It's the story of what happens when the market tries to push somewhere and gets rejected hard.
So let's meet the main character of this story, the Long Wick candle. You've definitely seen these before. They've got that tiny little body and this super long tail, or wick. But that wick, it's not just a line. It's basically the footprint left behind after a massive battle between buyers and sellers.
So here's how the fight goes down. The buyers, they make a huge push. They're feeling confident, driving the price way, way up. But then, bam, the sellers just storm in with overwhelming force, and they slam the price right back down before that candle can even close. That long wick you see, that's the scar from the battle.
So what's the takeaway for you? What does this story actually mean? Well, it's a huge flashing neon sign that says a certain price was completely and totally rejected. The team that was pushing the price up, they just lost control, big time. And now the other side is in charge. This is often one of the very first clues you'll get that the trend is about to turn around.
All right, so if the long wick was like a failed attack, this next pattern, the engulfing candle, well, this is a full-blown hostile takeover. There is absolutely nothing subtle about this one. It's a story of pure raw power.
I mean, the name says it all, right? An engulfing candle is just this massive candle that completely swallows the one that came right before it. It just engulfs it. Honestly, just looking at it tells you the entire story of who's in charge now.
Think of it like this. You had the old guard running the show. The previous trend had control. But then the new power shows up with one single monster candle that doesn't just stop the old move, it completely wipes it out and then keeps on going. It's a statement, a clear message of absolute dominance.
For us as traders, this is one of the strongest reversal signals out there. It's just so decisive. It shows that power shifted and it shifted fast. And here's a little pro tip. The bigger that engulfing candle is compared to the little one it swallowed, the more seriously you should take that signal. It's a really big deal.
Okay, so we've seen the loud, dramatic battles. But, not every story in the market is like that. Sometimes the most important clues, they happen when things get quiet. Really quiet. The moments of total indecision. So, what does that look like?
Well, that brings us to our next pattern, the inside bar. This one isn't a story about a big fight. It's more of a pause, a consolidation. I like to think of it like the market is just taking a deep breath, coiling up like a spring right before it explodes into its next big move.
What it looks like is pretty simple. An inside bar is just a candle where its entire range, from its high to its low, is completely contained inside the range of the candle right before it. We call that bigger previous candle the mother bar.
So what's really going on here? It's basically a temporary ceasefire. The buyers are looking around thinking, should we keep pushing? And the sellers are like, well, should we try to take over? Nobody has enough conviction to break out of that previous candle's range. It's just a moment of pure indecision.
So for you, the big takeaway here is that an inside bar is a heads up. It's a sign that volatility is drying up and the market's just consolidating. But that squeeze, that compression of energy, it almost always comes right before a huge expansion, a big breakout. So when you see one, that's your cue to lean in and pay very close attention. Okay, our final story is the quietest one of all. It's not a big explosion, it's more like a whisper. It's the story of a strong trend that's just, it's running out of gas. And again, the name, Shrinking Candles, tells you exactly what to look for. You'll have a nice trend going, but then you start to notice that each new candle is just a little bit smaller than the last one, and the next one is even smaller. Every push forward has less and less oomph behind it. The best way to think about this is like a long-distance runner. They've been going strong for miles, but now they're nearing the finish line, and they're just getting tired. There's no big dramatic battle, It's just exhaustion setting in. Each step, or in our case, each new candle, covers less ground. You can literally see the momentum just draining away.
Now this pattern is an amazing early warning system. It's telling you, hey, whoever has been in charge here, the buyers or the sellers, they're getting worn out. Now it's not as in your face as an engulfing candle, for sure, but it's a really solid clue that the current trend is probably on its last legs and is super vulnerable to getting knocked over.
All right, so we've learned a few words and a few chapters of this market language. Now let's wrap it all up and see how you can actually start reading the full story that the market is telling you every single day.
So, let's just do a super quick review. You've got the Long Wick, which is all about a fierce rejection. The engulfing candle, that's the decisive takeover. The inside bar tells you there's a quiet pause happening. And the shrinking candles, that's the slow exhaustion. Each one tells a completely different story, but they all give you a critical clue about what might happen next.
But listen, this might be the most important thing I say today. A pattern is a clue. It's not a conclusion. You can't just see one and jump in. These clues help you build a case for a trade, but they are not a magic crystal ball. You always have to look at the bigger picture. What's the overall trend doing? Where are the major support and resistance levels? Context is everything.
So there you have it. You now have the basic building blocks to start reading the secret language of the charts. The only question left is, the next time you open up your charts, what story are you going to see that you were completely blind to before?